I basically was born in the cult, and it was very interesting because not many people live in a cult. So basically, they did some psychological like challenges for the people, and the leader bring out all the dirt, and the other Italians can comment on them. I was never the target of the discussion because I was younger, but even I participate, and it was a show to look these people being torn apart and being torn apart. I saw what power means by a single person. I wanted to be that power. I liked to be the prodigious child, and that was it.
Hello, Gabo. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Peak Performance Perspective, where we help entrepreneurs master health, wealth, and relationships. I have to start by asking, what does peak performance mean to you?
I think over the years, it has meant a lot of things, but more recently, peak performance for me as an agency owner is to work directly with the client, with his WhatsApp since 6 a.m., like having a very close relationship, bringing them strategies, idea, and having a close relationship, so close that even if they don't see the results right away, they have a trust in your guidance, and they continue to work with you because they actually trust you. So peak performance for me is building trust within my clients and building that way their companies, basically.
Can you help the audience understand real quickly what kind of agency you run and what services you provide?
Sure. So basically, we have an agency that has this. We tell them we are a growth marketing agency. So we don't just do branding or awareness or social media just for the fun of it. We measure every aspect of the business, and we actually help them grow their business. That's what growth marketing is. And we do it by doing lots of trial and error in campaigns, and also in ideas, in creative artwork, and in the targeting of the campaigns in Meta, Facebook ads, Google ads. That's one of the things. Another thing is we use AI to generate lots of ideas and to analyze the performance of the campaigns. And what we basically do is we have a holistic approach to the client where we enter. And to give you an example, we have now a candle shop that has 100 years. And we started campaigns with them, and we are having 8x return than advertising, but we want some more. So I say to them, let's launch a promotional campaign of 30% off in all the store just for 3 days. So we give clients ideas continuously to improve their performance on everything they do. For example, we have a big client, it's called Mercado Libre, which is like the Amazon of Mexico and Latin America. And if you find an item that you like in the site or in the app, we do all the retargeting so that you see those products all over the internet. They follow you everywhere. So we are behind all that thing that the retargeting for you. So basically, we do creative, we do performance, we do growth marketing, and we have this close relationship with the client. Being GB Plus, the agency, which means Gabo Plus. Actually, my first agency was GB Creativa, which is Gabo Creativa. And then I had another agency, which I sold to my partner. And this new agency was like, okay, I'm going to renew myself. I'm done with account executives. Because account executive, once you have them, you have to say to them, please tell the client this, please answer faster, please. And when I do it myself, it's like immediate. I do an immediate response to the client needs. So that's what's going on. Actually, in this book that I will send you soon, The Life of Gabo, I have this chapter called GB Plus. And my mother, that has already read it, told me, is this a book to sell your agency? When she read that chapter.
You had a very unconventional childhood, growing up in what would be called in a slang term a cult or a sect that
Yes.
influenced your life and your approach to business and creativity also. Tell us a little bit about this upbringing of yours.
So basically, I'm Italian. I was born in Rome. And then at 7 years old, my mother decided with my grandmother to go live in Mexico in a small city called Martinez de Torre. And even in a smaller city, it was the place where like 50 to 100 Italians lived near the leader of the cult. And I basically was born in the cult, and it was very interesting because not many people live in a cult. So basically they did some psychological like challenges for the people. For example, on Mondays we had a restaurant, and on Mondays it was closed, and they pick a person and they were like, Mark, you know what, we think that you have this psychological problem, and the leader bring out all the dirt, and the other Italians can comment on them. And if you were like bad or not fit, you can be excluded from the cult for months. You have to go like in a place to meditate and try to resolve your problem. You sometimes you even have to say, I am the devil or something like that. I want to say shit like that. So it was challenging because I was a child looking all these things. I was never the target of the discussion because I was younger, but even I participate, and it was a show to look these people being torn apart and being torn apart. Basically, they took their psychology and they were like strip all the pieces and judged. Basically, yeah. So in my bringing, basically, it meant that I saw what power means by a single person. I wanted to be that power. I liked to be the prodigious child, and that was it.
Moving at such a young age, what were some of the key lessons you learned? And especially when it comes to this cultural transition into a different country, but also this sect and a cult that is controlling your life in a certain way.
So Mexico was very different from Italy, of course. I didn't learn much in the schools in Mexico. I was actually bullied for being the only white guy in the school. And my upbringing wasn't that great. And I didn't tell my mom that I was bullied a lot. I always thought that when you're a child, you don't rationalize the change. You basically accept the change as it comes. I didn't know Spanish when I came to Mexico, so I learned it on the go. It was very different, but basically I adapted myself very fast because what a child do. We are like a sponge, so you put yourself in a different situation and you absorb what's the new thing and you live it through. You don't judge it a lot.
And you spoke about your understanding and experience of power. Because in some ways you were being controlled, your decisions were made for you, right? You were being punished, right? You give some examples of that. Can you dive deeper into this experience and how it shaped your understanding of authority, but also community?
Yeah. So basically, it wasn't a very good idea that a child or an adolescent of with 11, 12 years can spoke to a mother saying, I don't think you raised your child very well because of this and that. So it gave me power that a child shouldn't have of treating people like judgmental. It was all a sort of I judge you, I watch you because I know that on Monday I will say this to the leader of the cult and she will say these things, and if I say the wrong things, I will be rewarded in what like the leader of the cult once or more than once told me, see that 12-year boy understand better than you that are adults. So it gave me like a disconnection from reality actually.
What was the transition like from growing up in the cult environment and then starting your own company?
Yeah, so basically, once I left the university, I started a little agency, the one that's called GB Creative, and it lasted just 1 year. because it was 2009 and the H1 virus came up, and I was in Cancun. So all the clients that we had relied on tourism and they all shut us down. So I put a business of taxis and I came with the money with the people of the cult, and even the leader put money on me, and I made huge mistakes. I basically did like a pyramid scheme, I think it's called.
Pyramid
In the
scheme.
pyramid scheme, yeah, which when basically I took the money from new investors and I was giving them to old investors, trying to appear that everything was fine. That lasted for a year and a half. And then one day, all the people of the cult and Carolina, which was the leader, came to my house, and I had to tell them that there were 12 taxis missing. I had no money, and they asked me to call my mother, and my mother had to say that she will pay for all the money that was missing. My mother had to sell the two houses where my grandmother and her were living. So it was like a very strong problem. And that basically take us out of the cult. I often think that it was like an explosion, and that made us leave the cult. So once we leave the cult, I said to my mother, I want to try my luck in the singers thing, which is another side of me. And I want to move to Mexico City. So I moved to Mexico City and I did 5 years of trying to be a singer-songwriter. My peak performance on singer-songwriting was a place called El Foro del Tejedor, which has a capacity for 100 people, full with people that know my songs. But then I started again an agency for music. And then that agency for music became digital marketing agency with a partner. And we won like all these big clients because I had in me such power in presentation and in myself, because as I've said to you before, I have bipolar disorder, and I was many times pushed by my hypomania, which is a milder mania, where you can be very creative, very action driven. It's crazy, and you can convince people with the energy that you have in yourself. So yeah.
Despite all of that you went through, you started a company, you started working with iconic brands like Volvo and Audi. That wasn't an easy journey still, because like you said, you were suffering from few mental health challenges, particularly bipolar disorder, like you said. How has this shaped your career and personal life? And what advice would you give to somebody who's managing similar challenges?
So basically, if you don't sleep at night and you find yourself watching too much Grant Cardone or too much Tony Robbins and feeling like you are connecting with them in a weird way, and you have a tendency to spend money or do risky things, driving your car very fast, or for example, buying all the new things with money that you don't have, or going gambling at casinos, and you don't know what that is actually happening. And after that, you have a down, you may have a bipolar disorder. What I told the psychiatrist that give me the treatment is, I said to him, you know what? I'm tired that I can't feel high all the time. I want to feel high all the time and I can't. And he said to me, maybe you have to look into what bipolar disorder is, because maybe you have it. And when I know that, I find books and videos and personalities that have it. And it's like, yeah, I have it, but it's not like I have it now. I was bipolar all the way.
Not only did you face personal challenges going through life because of this disorder, there was also a betrayal in your business experience. Tell
Yeah.
us about this.
Yeah, so basically, we built with my partner the digital marketing agency, which is still running without me since I've started GB Plus, which is now successful. I have 20 employees and 15 clients right now. But basically, I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2, which means that you can only go to hypomania, which is a mania that doesn't have psychosis. But in 3 years ago, my grandmother died, and a girlfriend that I really loved went to live to Switzerland for a job. And basically all those factors put me in a situation where I thought, okay, I will stop medicating myself because I don't need it. And basically I went into a psychosis state where I did unimaginable things. I thought like things like people are hearing my thoughts, or I am the inheritor of Disney and Pixar, or I took the bike and went in lanes, but not in the way of the street, but going into the cars without my hands. So I did all these risky things. And finally, my mother came and they hospitalized me because I was in a mania, full-blown mania and after that, it was like 11 days in the hospital. And after that, I thought, I'm okay. I will just go back to my agency. I founded the agency, and my partner just said to me, I don't want to be your partner anymore. And I was in a very dark place. My mother told me to fight with lawyers that I was the rightful owner of the agency, but my partner offered me to buy me out, and I didn't have the strength to fight that. If it was right now, I will fight it, but in that time I was still depressed from all that happened and not feeling like myself. So I accept everything that he said. And in the book, I said, Roberto, if you read this, sometimes I want you to know that you betrayed me, because a friend doesn't take your agency that you've built with so much love from you in a low spot. And he wasn't my friend. He was a cold. He once told me, Gabo, you have to be careful with people because some people are like hitmen. And he was like the hitman with the job that he did, taking my agency away. Yeah, that was the story of how I lost that company. And I even had to sign that for a whole year, I can put another agency and I can compete with him in any way. So I had to wait like a year to start the other agency. So it wasn't like only I take you the agency. It was also like, you can compete with me for a year or I will not give you money. And since he was the financial guy, he had the power and I needed the money. So I took it. I want to try.
Entrepreneurship has such ups and downs, and human nature, when we're on the up and up, it's good, it feels good, but it seems so short lived. And when we're on the down, that period almost seems like it's never gonna go by. It's never gonna be over. For those who are listening to this, how did you come out of this? Because you not only got your company taken away from you, you had a personal breakdown for which you need to get professional help. And after that, you couldn't work for a year and start your own agency. It requires a lot of strength within a person. Come out of that, start their own agency, and get it back to where you are now. So tell us, how did you do this?
I basically, for a year, was depressed. And the real answer to what you're saying is I changed psychiatrists and they started to give me stronger medications. And they also find out that I have ADHD. So they give me Ritalin, and that's the chemical side. So for people listening, if you're trying hard, but you feel like you can't, go see a professional. That's an important thing. And then I think in the year that I wasn't working, I studied very hard, because one problem that we had in the agency with Roberto was that the clients that we acquire were only contacts of him. So I studied email marketing. I studied how to do LinkedIn properly. I studied how to make campaigns to acquire new clients, how to extract emails from LinkedIn. to make newsletters that are engaging, and I designed my website. I studied what's gonna be the agency about and what's gonna be different of the old agency. So that whole year was like preparation. And once I was prepared, it wasn't easy. It took 2 years to grow like this. And the whole first year, it was like pitch after pitch and no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. You don't have a team. You're too small for us. And just working little by little, I gave myself strength and I started waking up at 6 a.m. and started working. I like to work. I have a standing desk, so I work up. And since 6 a.m. till 7 p.m., I don't sit. I just work. So basically, what I did, and I have never worked this way in my life before. So my psychiatrist called this professional maturity. So that's what I reached. I stopped giving excuses and I started performing for clients and for myself, more importantly.
What did that teach you about yourself? Because prior to this professional maturity, you were a different person. What were the realizations you had because of it?
So basically, even the problem was mixed. The bipolar disorder, it messes you up a little bit, your personality. So you're a little grandiose, a little you feel like powerful, and with the right medicine you don't feel that omnipresence or power. So I had to find that power in myself, the real self, the ones that is not challenged by a chemical. And the realization was that I was still a child. I was still a child, like getting clients, having an account executive, do the meetings, and just handing to them the clients and don't put any effort to it. I was like, I'm gonna be the entrepreneur that doesn't work a lot. I don't care. But that came with a price, and the price was that the first stage of this new agency, I lost all my clients because of that. And then I decided that I will not have an account executive anymore, and I will do everything personally. And that was a big shift on the way I'm conducting myself now.
Obviously, when you run the business like how you're running now and for the clients, it's amazing because Gabo is there all the time. Gabo is the one to answer. I don't have to rely on a second person or a third person to get to Gabo. That's also incredibly taxing on your mental health and your physical health because there's only 24 hours in a day. How do you balance working with all these clients and also taking care of yourself?
You know what? For the first time in my life, the real reason why I can do it is because I love it. So it's not a problem for me to do it Monday to Sunday. I'm starting to loving it. It isn't as much work as you may think. When you do all the work in the moment you have to do it. I have wonderful days where the afternoon is free and I just read a book. And on weekends, I go to Mexico City to see my girlfriend. That gives me balance. On weekends here in my town, there is a place that does music, live music. So I go to the place, I see my friends. So it's like this song from John Mayer that says, don't be afraid to walk alone and don't be afraid to like it. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it to walk alone in this time because I'm building something that is going to be very big. But at the same time, I'm also very happy. The other day, I just went to my mother's home and I said to her, making a coffee, I said to her, Mom, I'm happy. And she said to me, you can't even comprehend what that means to me because I'm truly happy. I'm doing what I love. And also for people that are creative, normally they do singer-songwriting or play the piano or do other things. And it's, I have this job and I want to still be an artist. In this professional maturity, I've come to peace with my artist side. I'm like, okay, dear artist side, for now, you're going to be on pause and it's not going to be an issue for us. We're going to be okay not playing the guitar, not writing songs, because now you're focusing on your clients and on your agency. I read this book, Habits for the Millionaires, and it said that you need to be in love with your clients. So I'm giving all my creative outlet to them. And just for fun, I also made a TikTok account that is called the Marketing of Gabo, or El Marketing de Gabo in Spanish. And it's also the name of the second book that I want to do. The first book is the Life of Gabo, because it's more impactful. All the story of the cult and the agencies and the taxis is like a narco story for a Netflix series. But in the second book, El Marketing de Gabo, I wanna told all the marketing stories, strategies, and everything.
In a world where there are more reasons to stop than to keep on going, especially as an entrepreneur, when you get started, there are so many roadblocks and obstacles, and everybody listening to this can relate to that. There are times when it just seems like the sun wouldn't rise because you are stuck in the deep, dark, hollow path in a tunnel that is cold and that just doesn't seem to end. Entrepreneurship is that. Entrepreneurship is about loving something, creating something out of thin air as an artist, and then serving people to the art that you have created. It is hard. You, Gabo, have proved through your life that sometimes the love for that art, the desire to serve, is so strong that we forget that we are made by God to do some things that are incredible. Your childhood, growing up in a cult, getting excommunicated, making some mistakes, but owning up to it with the taxi business, building a successful company, losing a successful company, going through a mental health crisis, and then coming back out and rising like a phoenix from your own ashes is the quintessential entrepreneurial story there is. I don't think I have interviewed anybody in my career as a podcaster who has gone through so much, who had so many things working against them, and had found the level of success they have. And above all of that, when I talk to you, I see a happy person. I see a joyful person. You're not bitter. You're not angry. And it says so much about the type of person Gabo is behind the entrepreneur that is Gabo. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an honor and a pleasure meeting you. Any last words of advice for our audience?
See a professional. Really, if you find out earlier than later, it's just better for your life. Don't be afraid of taking medicine if you need them. And I think one last piece of advice, it will be to just try, keep trying, make errors. Errors teach you all you need to know, but learn from your mistakes. That's the key.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Gabo. I hope we
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon again.
Thank you.